What's going on YouTube? It's Giga here, bringing you some more Series 12 Wi-Fi battles with live commentary. Continuing to work my way through my 4 rental teams video to end this month. Today we are using Calyrex with Dialga. So this is a really interesting combo, and I just want to talk a little bit about it. Normally, Calyrex is paired with Palkia, right? Just because they do have very good typing together. But I thought Dialga was a really solid option because it hits really hard, and it does have a better matchup into Palkia, right? Because of the fact that one, it gets a stronger max Warm Wind, and also it does not take super effective from incoming Warm Winds, so that really sort of helps. Calyrex, very standard. We do have a weakness policy just because we do have ways to trigger it, and I wanted to kind of mix it up. We also did max the PP on Glacial Lance. I know that was an issue with Bouffalant, but we fixed it here. So next up, Dialga, pretty straightforward. We do have a weakness policy on it just to hit as hard as we can. Dialga really going to be one of our main max options. So next up is Heracross. This is a Pokemon that I just really wanted to use. I've had a shiny one sitting in the box for a while, and I thought that this would be the perfect chance to give it a shot. It does have Guts. I thought Guts was kind of the way to go, because especially in Trick Room, right, you're so worried about Amoonguss. So having a way to not worry about those spores, I thought was a really big deal. Overall, the coverage, it just is very strong, right? We have Mega Horn, we have Throat Chop for opposing Calyrex, as well as Close Combat. So overall, a great option. Heracross also does pair really well with Dialga because of the fact that they do have really good synergy in terms of defensive typing. And so I thought that was important. So next up is Dusclops. Dusclops is another one of our Trick Room setters. We do have access to Pain Split, Will-O-Wisp, Nightshade, and Trick Room. I thought that Will-O-Wisp was more important than Shadow Sneak. Like, yes, we are losing the ability to like easily proc Calyrex Shadow, right? Like if we're out of Trick Room, we can't just go for a Nightshade because it'll move after, but I thought it was still fine, right? 50 damage, yes, is a lot, but it is consistent. We don't have to worry about things like crits, and I thought Will-O-Wisp was more important. So next up, we have Umbreon. Umbreon is pretty standard. It is sort of our main answer into Calyrex Shadow, right? As both of our Trick Room sweepers do struggle a little bit with that. Having access to a strong dark type for them, I thought was important. And then wrapping things up, we do have Amoonguss. It's Trick Room Amoonguss. We all know what it does. It has redirection to help us get set up, so that's important. So this is a team. We do have the paste in the description, and with that, let's just get rocking and rolling and move into the first game. All right, battle number 1, and it is Solgaleo Kyogre. It is Solgaleo Kyogre, Mimikyu, Incineroar, Regieleki, and Galarian Zapdos, or Galarian Moltres. So a little bit of an interesting one, right? There is that option of Trick Room, right? We are seeing the Mimikyu, but the big question, right, is what do we do here? I think Umbreon is really big, but I think setting up Trick Room is going to be more important. I think that Amoonguss with probably Dusclops is going to be huge here. We could actually do Amoonguss Calyrex. I think that's fine. I think then having Dialga and then Umbreon and try to make it so Dialga is our main max is going to be fine here, right? The thought process with that is nothing should be able to one-shot both of my Pokemon, my Redirector, as well as my Trick Room setter. We do have to be a little bit wary, right, of Mimikyu being able to reverse that Trick Room, but one thing we could do is we could just go for a Spore right off the bat, as well as go for a Protect with our Calyrex, right? So if we are fearing the Trick Room, being able to set that up, but that does then become this like weird guessing game of when does the Mimikyu wake up, which is not always a game you want to play, as we are going to see Solgaleo and Incineroar. So a little bit of an awkward lead, right? You do have access to that fake out immediately, and so unfortunately I think the right play is probably going to be going for a Protect with the Amoonguss and then switching out into actually, we can't even do that. The issue, right, is I was thinking we switch out into Umbreon, but the problem is Foul Play will not actually get the KO onto the Foul Play will not get the KO onto the Solgaleo. So all we'll do is we'll proc the weakness policy and be in no better of a position. So I think what we really want to do here is we really want to try and set up that Trick Room, basically have Amoonguss be a fodder, right, and say, hey, we just need you to knock us out so we can go from there. And I think if we can get Umbreon out under Trick Room, it will be in a really good spot. So unfortunately, no Heracross game 1. I think it didn't make it in all honesty, wasn't a terrible option. right? Like, we do have Mega Horn to lower the special attack of Kyogre. We do have access to, obviously, that Throat Chop to help deal with Solgaleo, but I think that because it's non-stab, it's just a little bit risky, and so I do want to see if we can sacrifice the Shroom in order to kind of get set up. We do have a weakness policy, right? So that is going to be helpful, as we are going to see the Steel Spike come out into the Calyrex, which is perfect for me, right? You're going to proc my policy, so even though we are going to go to -1 as a result of, or only to +1 as a result of that Incineroar, we are at least in slightly better shape. We do have to be a little bit wary, right, of the fact that this Solgaleo now has a defense boost, so it's not necessarily going to be a very free... Okay, so we do see, what's it called? We are going to see a taunt come out here. So that tells me that you might be safety goggles. I'm going to still go for the Trick Room, right? You could be Shuka and just have taunt. But I feel like you're definitely going to be that safety goggles variant. If you're not, that's also fine. I'm fine to lose my +1 boost to get a free pivot out, right? If we can, what's it called? Waste all 3 turns of the Solgaleo's max. That's obviously going to be really good. We've already used 2 of them, and we're going to see the taunt come out into the Amoonguss. So that's actually totally fine with me, right? Because what that means is you are going to be limited in terms of what you can do, and we do have to go for the Pollen Puff, which is a little bit unfortunate. I do want to go for yeah, I can't click Spore. I forget that it's not like Showdown where it just takes away what you can do. So I'm fine actually to swap into Umbreon here and then go for another Protect. Do I want to go for Protect, or do I want to go on the offense? I'm going to go for a Quake into this Incineroar. They are at +2, we are at +1, so I'm fairly certain they are going to survive. But what's important, right, is if we can stall out their max, we are going to be in a very strong position. I think we probably, in all honesty, should have just gone for the high horsepower instead and utilized kind of Dialga in the back. But I don't think it's necessarily the end of the world, right? Umbreon, I think, is still in fantastic shape. We do have that ability to also start going for Yawns if we need to, but I think we should be able to survive one hit from this Solgaleo at max. But yeah, Dialga probably a much better option here, right? We are only going to do not enough for the KO onto this Incineroar, so that's a little bit tricky, as this does potentially allow them to get a free parting shot out onto something like a Kyogre, as we are going to indeed see the parting shot coming out. And so the big question is, what do you bring out here? I think either way, we should be fine, right? Umbreon now packing just a lot of capability in terms of what it can do. We can also go for a Quake into the Solgaleo, followed by a Foul Play, as we are going to see the Galarian Moltres actually revealed here. So a little bit of a scary one, as we are going to take a Steel Spike. We will survive, which is nice. I do potentially expect a switch out from the Moltres into Incineroar, and so I think the optimal play actually is going to be to go for a Foul Play as well as go for a Max Quake into the Solg, right? It's so obvious to make that switch into Moltres, and I think that this is a little bit more of a threat. Obviously, if they choose to stay in, I mean, more power to them. We really can't stop that. I don't know. I don't think we'll get the KO, unfortunately, just given all of the Steel Spike boosts. So it is going to be a little bit tricky. Dialga is going to have to do a little bit of the heavy lifting, unfortunately, but I don't think this is necessarily the end of the world. We're going to see just a Sucker Punch. So not what I expected. That is really unfortunate, as the Quake going to come out here. But yeah, I think because we are only at neutral and they are at +3, we probably are not going to get this KO, even using the weakness policy boost for Foul Play and the stab from Umbreon. I just also am assuming that it is weakness policy, but yeah, it very much clearly is. Umbreon does actually put in a lot of work though, and so I think it's not necessarily over. Let's see how much this Foul Play does. Not enough is the answer to that question that I'm sure everyone had. We are going to see an Earthquake reveal. That should be enough to KO the Calyrex. Yeah, especially now that the weakness policy is triggered. But at this point, right, we do have Turbo Shroom out. We know that you are not Goggles on the Incineroar. We did see what's it called, that live. We can bring out Dialga. I think Dialga is also an option here. We do have access to Earth Power. We can start going for things like Snarls into the Moltres. I think Yawn spamming is totally legitimate here. It is just a little bit unfortunate, though, that we don't have Trick Room on this Dialga. I don't think we need it, though. I very much would like to go for a... I'm going to go for a Snarl. I think that that's fine here. And then I'm just going to click Earth Power into the Solgaleo spot. It does cover a potential... I don't see you switching out into Incineroar, but it definitely is an option. We do have to be a little bit weary, though, of the fact that Solgaleo can potentially protect to stall out our Trick Room, and we don't really want that. But we know that, you probably have Kyogre in the back. Kyogre really not going to like Dialga. It's not going to like Umbreon if Umbreon can get set up. We also do have Amoonguss, which is also something else that can be fairly tricky for Kyogre. So hoping for a little bit. I feel not the best. We are going to see the swap, though. If this is Incineroar, that's going to be really, really good. It is going to be Kyogre. So not ideal, but getting some chip onto this Kyogre, I think, is going to be really huge for us, as especially also we do get the Snarl off, right? Being able to drop that special attack onto that Kyogre as well as onto that Moltres, two very prominent special attackers. And so I think we're fine right now that your Origin Pulse, or not your Origin Pulse, your Water Spout going to do not that much. We do have to be a little bit weary, right? We are, what's it called, a special attacker ourselves, as we are going to see the Snarl come out from this Moltres as well. But I think it's fine at this point to go for a swap into the what's it called, into the Amoonguss, as well as just continuing to spam Snarl. We do still have a turn of Trick Room. Yes, this is the last turn of Trick Room. I very well could see a double Protect, but I think the fact that you have Sucker Punch really suggests to me that you are what's it called, you are Assault Vest. And also just like looking at the damage that Umbreon did, which is pretty much 0, that also is in my mind another indicator of Assault Vest. But if we can get the Kyogre to -2, which it looks like we're gonna miss something. I don't know what that was. Okay, it is the Kyogre. So Kyogre at -2, right? This is really good for us. The Earth Power also going to put Kyogre really low, making it so we are able to take those hits really well. I do want to probably switch out into Amoonguss, just because of the fact that that's not good. I really need Dialga around. So I'm going to switch out Dialga into what's it called? Into the Shroom. Kyogre is at -2, so I can't really see it being an issue. I'm fine just to... I should also just go for a Yawn. I'm going to Yawn into the Moltres, and I'm going to switch out into Dialga. I mean, into Amoonguss. We can try to pivot out again, because we are going to need to stop Dialga's sleep turns at some point, as we are going to see the switch probably into the Incineroar. Incineroar is fine with me. We did see the taunt reveal, so a little bit scary for sure, but like I said, I do just need to try and preserve things. I unfortunately don't think we can really come back at this point. I think we've lost too many resources, and we just don't have the damage output, as we are going to see the Hurricane. Luckily, it is going to go into the Umbreon, not the what's it called, not into the Amoonguss. That would have been really bad. We are going to see the Sleep come out, and also with the leftovers, right, we are just recovering such a large amount of HP back. I think what I want to do is I want to go for a Foul Play onto this Incineroar, as well as go for a Protect with the Amoonguss, just with the idea that we very well could see what's it called, a Taunt come out. And so I want to make it so we can get rid of this Incineroar, as we are going to see the swap out from the Moltres. I think that, yeah, that was really obvious. Could be, yep, we are going to see the Ogre come out too. So Ogre, if we can stall out its rain turns, right, that's going to significantly help surviving an Origin Pulse. If the Foul Play going to come out into this Incineroar, doing a very big chunk, I'm going to say, yeah, the crit obviously mattering there. The Taunt going to come out into the Umbreon. That's actually, it's not ideal, but it's also fine. I think at this range, Snarl should be enough to KO. So actually what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to swap out into the Dialga just to get some survivability, and I'm going to go for a Pollen Puff onto the Incineroar, just trying to KO it. I think if we can get rid of that, that really helps us out. I think I just want to, like I said, stall out this rain to make it so its Origin Pulse is not going to hit nearly as hard. And so I think this sort of gives me the best chance of doing that. And then once the weather is gone, right, like Umbreon, I don't want to say Umbreon can sweep, because that is not the full truth. But let's see what's going to come out here. I think a very good switch, as we are going to see the Moltres. So unfortunately, we're not going to get a ton of damage, as this Ice Beam going to come out into the Amoonguss. Amoonguss, unfortunately, going to go really low. So shocked to see that damage output. We're going to do absolutely nothing into this Moltres. I want to go for a Roar of let's go for an Earth Power onto this Ogre, and then let's go for a switch into the Umbreon, right? Like if we get the Earth Power, it's going to either KO Solgaleo, it's going to KO Incineroar, or it's going to do a lot of damage. So as long as we thaw out in a reasonable amount of turns, I think we're really in good shape. So yeah, it really is going to come down to how quickly we thaw. There's actually no guarantee we ever thaw. So we're going to see the Fiery Wrath come out. So that's actually a little bit scary. Yeah, so if I just need Dialga, unfortunately, going to be frozen here. I want to go for, I'm probably going to, no, it doesn't make sense. Unfortunately, I think what I have to do is I have to, I'm going to switch out into the Amoonguss, trying to recover a little bit back, and then go for a Foul Play onto the Solgaleo slot. I think looking at how long this game is going, we might actually end up going to timer. And so if that becomes the case, I think I'm going to have to really go on the offense with Umbreon, right? Just trying to go for big knockouts. I do need to recover at some point. That is definitely something worth looking at, right? Like, so what I'm hoping for is if I can get the knockout onto this Solgaleo, we can go for redirection, go for the Moonlight, and then or just try and KO the Incin, as we are going to see Umbreon, or not Umbreon, Amoonguss going to live. It does take a crit, which is a really unfortunate scenario, as this Earthquake going to come out. Not what I want to see at all, because yeah, we are going to lose the Amoonguss. So that crit actually really playing a big role here, right? We are now at this point where we're forced to bring out our last two. We cannot recover the damage off, because we do have the leftovers, which is helpful, but at this point, right, you can bring out Kyogre. Kyogre now is going to have full power Origin Pulse, whereas before we could have pivoted back into say the Dialga if we needed to, as yeah, out comes the Kyogre. Dialga is so low that we really can't do much. We can try to go for what's it called? I think Roar of Time is probably my best bet here, just given how everything looks. But I think, unfortunately, because of that crit and the fact that Amoonguss wasn't able to survive, we're just not in the best shape. I'm going to try to go for the Moonlight. I think, like I said, this is my best chance at survival. I do need to recover at some point. Luckily, the Incin is low enough that if we can get rid of this Ogre, I'm confident in winning. But we are going to unfortunately take, yeah, the Hurricane onto the Umbreon. They do get the Confusion as well, so really not in a lucky spot. And yeah, the double Origin Pulse more or less going to seal this one. So obviously you never want to complain about luck, but the crit on the Amoonguss, the freeze on the Dialga, both really important, because we would have had just a much different end game, right? Like we would have had the hit go into the Amoonguss, we would have been able to recover up with Umbreon. So a little bit of unfortunate luck. The freeze, obviously the big one, but it is what it is. That's just part of the game, and let's just keep rocking and rolling and move to the next one. All right, battle number 2, and it is a Zacian Kyogre team. It is Cinderace, Zacian, Raichu with Incineroar, a Lapras, and Kyogre. So I think Dusclops is good here. Dusclops, I like. I could do Dusclops Dialga. I don't think that that's necessarily a bad lead. I think I want to bring Heracross, so I'm going to bring Heracross. It actually does pretty well into a lot of things. And then I'm going to bring Umbreon again. I don't think that this is a match for Calyrex, right? Like between the Incineroar, the Zacian, and the Lapras, right? Like it's not really a good option, especially if we're not planning on maxing the Incineroars. I mean, not the Incineroar, the Calyrex. So I think it's fine to pivot out into Umbreon. Once again, we are in that little tricky spot where we only have one Trick Room Sweeper, but not an issue, as we are going to see the Incineroar next to the Lapras. So this is fine. I think what I want to do is I don't necessarily want to commit a max to Dialga because of the fact that we are most likely going to eat a Parting Shot. I could just go for a max Warmwind into the Incin and hope it's enough for a KO. We are going to see the Light Clay, and then we're going to see the Figgy Berry. So I'm going to still go. Okay, so we can go for the Trick Room, and then the question is, what does more? So this is going to be 260 versus 225. So I think going for the Max Quake is going to be really huge here, right? Trying to get the boost. The important question now is, are we faster than this Lapras, right? If we're able to hit the Incin before they get the Resonance off, that obviously is going to work really in our favor, right? Getting that special defense boost is going to be huge. This also creates a scenario where we can pretty freely use our Heracross, right? Like we do have access to close combat. We do have access, close combat, obviously big one versus Lapras. We should see the max here, and that's great to see the Lapras moving second, because that means we will be able to get the Quake off before the Resonance goes off, so that hopefully should help us tank a hit. And then the question now is, are we going to do enough? Dusclops also really good here, right, with that Nightshade doing a guaranteed 50, so Resonance not even mattering in the long run. So let's see how it plays out. We are going to just fire off the Quake, so probably going immediately for that Parting Shot into the Dialga, as the Quake, perfect, is going to pick up the knockout. That's huge for us, right? Getting that special defense boost versus this Lapras, letting us set up a Trick Room. And so yes, you do have Resonance, but we do have, like I said, Dusclops is a guaranteed way to fire off some damage, as well as what's it called? Just the fact that Dialga just hits like a truck. I think that, yeah, look at how much that Resonance did with the special defense boost. I think that really suggests to me that they are words. They are Freeze Dry instead of Blizzard, because I like Freeze Dry over Blizzard for Lapras because of the fact that you have a way to hit water types. Yes, you have a huge drop in power, but Lapras's job isn't necessarily to be picking up knockouts. We are going to see the Ogre come out, so once again, a great excuse just to go for a Max Quake. I want to target down into the Ogre. I think Lapras, like I said, is just not going to be doing anything, especially now that it has what's it called? It has gone for the Resonance. So I think we're free just to go for another Quake here. I'm hoping that with the Nightshade damage that we are going to do enough to pick up the knockout into a non-max Ogre. I ideally want to create a scenario where Zacian, I think it's fine, right? We definitely are going to force out Zacian. That did a lot of damage. The Lightning going to come out into the Dusclops. Dusclops should take it, yeah, absolutely, just no damage at all. Lapras, I think just it doesn't hit hard. It really is unfortunate, but we are going to be able to fire off a big Max Quake onto this Kyogre. Like I said, I'm hoping it's okay. That is 0 damage. That we can pretend that we just did not see how little damage that did, but more importantly, we do get another boost onto the Dusclops as the Origin Pulse going to come out here doing nothing into our little ghosty friend. And I think the plan at this point is to target down into this Ogre. We do have Heracross in the pack, so I think that we are pretty fine for dealing with Lapras in the end game. I do for sure though want to try and get a burn onto the Zacian. I think that really is going to be important, and right, like we're going for Max Quakes here. This could be an Assault Vest Ogre, which is why we're seeing no protects. If that's the case, right, like that obviously works out for us, as the Resonance going to come out again, this time into the Dialga, which is totally fine with me, right? I want to keep the Dusclops alive more than anything. We can fire off a Quake, so now we're at +3. We should still have a good amount of turns. Yeah, we still have I think 2 turns of Trick Room left, and so it'll really come down to, can we hit the protect with I mean, not hit the protect, hit the Will-O-Wisp with Dusclops. We could potentially see a double protect. I think that is a little bit risky, but it's not necessarily the end of the world. So yeah, we are going to see the Zacian obviously come out here. If it's non-play rough Zacian, Heracross I think is in a really good spot, right? Being able to go for big damage. Lapras, I think it's totally fine to ignore, but we do obviously have to be really weary of the fact that if they get a double protect or we miss the Will-O-Wisp, we don't have a lot of good options for dealing with them. Yeah, there are 2 turns of Trick Room left, so I'm gonna go for a Will-O-Wisp onto the Zacian, and I want to go for an Earth Power onto it as well. I think getting chip onto the Zacian is the important factor. Lapras obviously not a threat. They're not going to protect, which I think is a really interesting call. It does guarantee that we get the Will-O-Wisp off, and I think that really should sort of help us out, as we are going to see the Thunder coming out into this Dusclops. So Dusclops going to take 8 whole damage, as we will be able to fire off this Earth Power into the Zacian. I'm guessing that's a crit. It looks like no crit. That was just pure Earth Power damage. And so Sacred Sword going to come out into the Dialga. Dialga has more than done its job. I get to bring out my Heracross now, which is all I really want. Yeah, I think at this point Zacian should be in range of a Nightshade, so we can bring out Heracross to hopefully not have my opponent quit, and then I can click a close combat into, I probably don't want to close combat into the Lapras, just because I don't want to get the drops. I'm going to go for a Nightshade onto the Zacian, and then go for a Mega Horn onto the Lapras. Yeah, we don't have our Flame Orb triggered yet, and so I just want to prevent a scenario from happening that is ill-favorable. We also still have Umbreon in the back, so right, Umbreon can pretty easily solo a Lapras if it needs to with access to recovery. And yeah, we will get the knockout here. One thing to be potentially worried. Okay, so we're gonna see Brine. So interesting choice, especially because we are over 50%. We will unfortunately miss the Mega Horn, but it's good to know that what's it called? We are faster or slower. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to Pain Split into the Lapras and then go for a Protect with the Heracross, so that way the Lapras will be as low as possible, and then we can hopefully pick up the last KO with Close Combat. I think that's really what I want to do. I want to show off Heracross, and even if all it does is get a singular KO, we'll take that. So the Pain Split going to come out here. That should let us recover, yeah, a really solid chunk. The rain also going to stop, so Brian going to do even less now. I wish we had Helping Hand, but c'est la vie. I'm gonna just click Will-O-Wisp onto this Lapras. I want to make sure Heracross gets this last KO. Heracross, one of my favorite Pokemon of all time, so I'm gonna go for the Trick Room. That's a much better option. And then as well as go for the Close Combat. This is Stab, super effective with Flame Orb, Guts Boost. So yes, they have. Oh, we're faster. I wasn't paying attention. Yeah, perfect. So as we can see, Heracross clearly carrying this game. It definitely was not Dialga. I don't know why anyone would ever suggest that, but overall, just a solid second battle. I think Dialga really was able to set up, and I think, yeah, having access to Will-O-Wisp and burning that Zacian immediately really sort of put things in our favor. So overall, a really solid second battle, and let's just keep rocking and rolling and play one more. All right, last battle of the day, and it is Calyrex Palkia. So a similar Trick Room team, Calyrex, Palkia, Incineroar, Amoonguss, Umbreon, and Klefki. So a lot of different options here. I think Dialga really going to shine here. I think Dialga Heracross is a really good lead to bring. Dusclops has potential with that Will-O-Wisp, right, for that Calyrex in the back. And the big question now is, how do I deal with the Amoonguss? I think I have to. I'm going to bring Calyrex of my own. I don't know how much I like this for, but I think it's fine. Heracross being able to resist, what's it called? The Spore, I think is going to be a really big deal. One thing that I might want to consider potentially is just trying to get the KO into the Amoonguss right off the bat. It's tricky because we don't have Max Hailstorm on this Dialga. That would have been really nice, right? Being able to immediately put pressure that way, but I think it still should be fine. right? The Wormwind, I think a Wormwind combined with like a Throat Chop from Heracross should be enough to get a KO onto the Amoonguss. The tricky part is we can't really let the Amoonguss get set up. And so yeah, let's go for that. I don't think Quake, unfortunately, will be enough with a non-boosted Throat Chop. Otherwise, that could have been a very good option, as we are going to see the Palkia next to the Incineroar. And so this is totally fine with me, right? We have immediate access to Max Wormwind into this Palkia. We have a close combat into the Incineroar if we need to. Tricky spot, though, is the fact that, I was going to say the Palkia is faster than the Dialga. So that makes things a little bit awkward. That being said, I do very much want to just go for this Wormwind right off the bat into this Palkia, as well as go for a close combat onto this Incineroar, right? We very well could see a switch out. We could see a max of their own, as they are going to indeed go for the max. I'm hoping that Dialga should be able to take whatever hit they want to go for and then dish out big damage. Yeah, but Wormwind, right, like they will be able to get a Quake off potentially first, which is scary because it is going to be super effective, but it is not stab, whereas our Max Wormwind will be stab as well as super effective and coming off a Life Orb. So we'll see how that goes. It is going to be a little bit tricky. But I very much, like I said, expect to see potentially probably a parting shot coming out from this Incineroar as well. So that is definitely something to look out for. But I think close combat, trying to get some good damage right off the bat is important, as yeah, we will see the Quake right off the bat into the Dialga. No surprises there. That did a lot of damage. That was a surprise. I said no surprises, and then we saw the damage, and then I realized that was a surprise. So that's less than ideal. We are going to see the Life Orb. The Wormwind's going to come out from us onto them. Should do not as much as I would have liked. This is a little bit of a tricky spot, right? Like part of me wants to protect Dialga, but I don't think that that's a good idea. Heracross going to be able to get that stab, super effective close combat onto the Incineroar, doing over 50%, about 75, but unfortunately not enough for the KO as a result of that Intimidate. As the parting shot, yeah, going to come out into the Dialga. So what I'm thinking of potentially doing is it might be worth going for a double protect this turn, just trying to stall out the second turn of Palkia's max. I don't think in this scenario we can beat Palkia, right? Like we're gonna lose this. If we can get rid of its max and then we can set up a Trick Room for our Calyrex, I think that that's probably our best bet. We've seen we're gonna see the third one of their Pokemon, whatever they choose to reveal. Probably not going to be a Calyrex, maybe a Calyrex. Calyrex is a little bit risky, as we are going to actually see the Calyrex. So this is interesting, as now we do have the Guts boost on our Heracross, and so we can go for that stab super effective Mega Horn. I'm going to click another Wormwind into the Palkia, probably not expecting to get it, and going for the Mega Horn into this Calyrex, just saying, hey, if you switch out into Incineroar, that's fine. We should hopefully be faster. We are going to see the Wormwind, so that I think was a very smart adjustment, going straight into the Heracross, right? Saying, hey, I want to get rid of your attack boost, which I think plays out really well for them as Heracross, right, being a big threat into this Calyrex. We will luckily be able to at least get their Calyrex down to -1. I think we do have one more turn of max left, right? Yes, we have one more turn of max left. So that hopefully should, if they don't, I mean, I'm guessing they're going to set up Trick Room here. That lets us bring out Dusclops pretty freely, and Dusclops can go for a Will-O-Wisp, so that's nice. We're going to see just actually a Glacial Lance, so I don't know how much I agree with that, but it is what it is. We can now bring out the Dusclops, right? We do have access to moves like Nightshade if we want to lower some damage, as we are going to see the Umbreon be revealed as the last one. And so Umbreon, I think, is fine with a Dusclops, right? We can go for what's it called, that okay, so Calyrex's weakness policy, that's good to know, but we can go for a Wormwind. Nope, not onto the Umbreon. I want to hit into the Calyrex, and then I'm going to go for a Will-O-Wisp as well. We are in a little bit of an awkward spot where we potentially have a Dusclops Umbreon endgame, but I think that that's also not necessarily the worst thing in the world, just given the fact that We do have Pain Split, so right, like if you're gonna Moonlight, we can heal that back. We do have consistent damage with Nightshade, so it might be a little bit of another timer-esque endgame, but not the end of the world. As the Wormwind going to come out here onto this Calyrex, hoping for that's actually a really solid chunk of damage. I will take that any day. Calyrex going to be at -2, so that's also really nice, right? Like, I would have liked... Okay, the Snarl, I'm hoping to KO the Dialga. Unfortunately, it doesn't, so that means that the Calyrex will be able to get to +1. Not +1, I mean -1. Yeah, so Dusclops, yeah, unfortunately going to go down here. I think it's probably worth going for a Protect and a burn into the... Oh god. I mean, I get that it's supposed to miss, but I didn't want that to be the case here. We could very well see a switch out. I would have liked very much to try to burn the Umbreon to reduce the damage of Foul Play. I'm gonna go for a Protect here, and then I want to set up a Trick Room. I think that sort of will be our best option in the end game. I'm hoping that Min Speed Calyrex underspeeds their Calyrex. We could see a potential reversal of the Trick Room, which would be scary. We're going to see the Foul Play come out. That's perfect. As we will see the Glacial Lance come out. They are at -1, so Dusclops should be able to take this really well, I'm hoping. Not really sure. We're going to find out. This is, like I said, -1. Perfect. Dusclops going to take that really, really well. And so if we can get up actually, I don't even think we need to... I think we're fine to click... Glacial Lance, as well as go for a Nightshade. We don't even need to risk the Will-O-Wisp here. We should, yeah, put them in range, more than enough range for this to pick up the knockout. Then we can potentially just go for a Pain Split with the Umbreon and try and set up that kind of endgame. And I think that really should work in our favor. For a lot of things, we are going to see the Umbreon switch out. That's totally fine. Out going to come with the Incineroar, which at this range, I don't know if it'll actually survive a Glacial Lance. There is a chance it does not, so definitely interested to see that. We're going to see Perfect No Protect come out from this Calyrex, and that means that we are at -1. I don't know if this actually picks up the knockout. I think it'll be close. It is going to, yeah, it's unfortunately not getting a knockout onto either. The Glacial Lance going to be fired off in return from this Calyrex, doing the most. Luckily not enough to get the KO onto the Dusclops. I think I'm going to click High Horsepower onto the Incineroar, and then I'm going to go for a Nightshade onto this Calyrex. I think that's our best bet. We are going to see the Incineroar withdraw, so that's helpful. As the Umbreon going to come back out, that should let us get at least a little bit of damage off. The Calyrex going to reveal the Protect. Not all of them have it, so definitely some helpful things to see. I think, though, at this range, we can get the knockout, even if, what's it called? They switch out the Incineroar again. So I'm going to click Glacial Lance, as well as go for a big Pain Split onto this Umbreon. I think it's a little risky, right? If you switch out into Incineroar, I didn't actually cover for that well. But perfect, we are going to be able to get that Pain Split off. That's going to let us recover a really big chunk of HP. We will be able to fire off a Glacial Lance too, which is also really huge, right? Being able to recover and get back to neutral, as, yeah, the Calyrex definitely going to go down there. They are in range of another one, but I think with Trick Room being over, things are a little bit hard. We are going to see the Foul Play come out, hoping we can survive this. 25 is low, but it is not 0. And so what I think we want to do actually is, so we're going to get to +2. The Instant is going to bring us to +1, or to, yes, +1. If we have a turn of Trick Room left, we're golden. If not, I think we should be able to set up another one with Dusclops, and then go for a Glacial Lance that way. Do we have a turn of Trick Room left? We do. Okay, perfect. And so with that, I think we're fine to fire off a Glacial Lance here, and then I'm going to go for a Nightshade onto the Incineroar, just because, I mean, we don't need the attack boost. Umbreon going to reveal the Protect, though, so we're going to see the Fake Out come out onto the Calyrex, so a little bit silly of me to, what's it called, to go for the attack, forgetting that Fake Out exists. But now what we can do is we can go for a Protect, and then we can set up another Trick Room, right? So we have that Protect option. We can then go for a Trick Room. We do have the guaranteed 50 damage with Dusclops, right, with that Nightshade. So we have 0 attack, and yeah, we're not gonna faint to a foul play. The Moonlight, though, gonna come out, but this is +1 single target Glacial Lance. We do have to be a little bit wary of our PP, but like given the fact that you're gonna lose 50 right off the bat, and this is single target, right, I can't really see the scenario in which you win this 1v1. So I'm going to click the Glacial Lance, as well as go for a Nightshade. We have max PP on the Dusclops for all of the moves, so if it comes down to a Timer War, right, I feel very confident in things. We're going to see the Protect. I don't necessarily see why, right? I guess you're trying to stall the PP on my Glacial Lance, but I don't think it's going to matter too much in the end. We can just spam A. Worst comes to worst, I'm fine to play Dusclops versus Umbreon endgame. We will get this Nightshade off, but I don't see Umbreon surviving this Glacial Lance, as the single target Glacial Lance at +1 going to come out here, and yeah, this, I would be shocked if this is not a KO. And Survey says it is a KO, so perfect. Overall, I think it was a cool episode to use the team. I wanted Dusclops, I mean not Dusclops, Heracross to do a little bit more, and it looks like they're gonna disconnect, which is yeah, just show me the disconnect screen. Come on, we know it's gonna happen. Yeah, I don't get why you do that at that point. Like, why are you stalling if you know it's gonna happen? I think that's really annoying. Shout out to my opponent for their disrespect. So overall, I think some solid games. Hopefully we can show off Heracross a little bit more. But yeah, with that, until next time, I hope all of you are wonderful, and I'll see you then.